Good morning, everyone. It's Janet Wakeland with Remarkably Created, and I want to thank you all for your patience as I took yesterday off to spend time with family. So that means that today we are opening door number 9. What we have been doing daily is we've been opening doors on the Stampin UP Crafters Advent Box, and then what I've been doing is showcasing samples and tips with the previous day, because obviously when we first opened the door, I'm opening it with you for the first time, so I don't have samples ready for that one. So the door is current, the samples and the tips are from the day before. So let's start, as we've been doing, with a review of everything that's been in this box so far. 12 goodies behind the doors, and then this stamp set comes with it when you order it. 24-piece photo polymer set, bold, easy to stamp images, and great versatile greetings for you. Then we opened up dies, and these 2 dies do coordinate with the flowers, and the images enhance the stamped images. We have 20 sheets of single-sided designer series paper in beautiful Stampin' Up! Colors. Then we had an amazing, basically a full pack of embellishments. This is the equivalent of getting one of those little round embellishment containers. Flat-sided, beautiful gold sparkle gems. We have some gold foil ephemera. We have 4x4 stencils and a great brush for adding ink and working in the smaller detailed pieces. I love this brush. And it always in a great storage bag. So one of the things to also point out is everything is in clear Ziploc bags. So if you want to keep all of the kit contents together, you can. And I'll give you a storage tip for that. We have some puffy stickers. There's 2 full sheets of these, again equivalent to a Stampin' Up! Embellishment pack. We had these great dies here. They do layer, for example, with the perennial postage with stylish shapes. Some other great dies that Stampin' Up! Has. They also layer together with each one. The smallest one has stitched markings. And then the last door that we recently opened was Baker's Twine. Looks to be Flirty Flamingo and Misty Moonlight. Those are the colors that I'm calling, okay? So let's go ahead and let's find door number 9. And if you're really, really careful with opening these doors, you can indeed repurpose this box. Instead of using your fingers, I would use an X-Acto knife or something. This door is really tight. So if you're careful, so you want to definitely be careful. Ooh, what is this? Oh my gosh. Okay, let's figure out what this is together. It's always so much fun. It looks like it's a little bit more ephemera. And, oh, it's like Memories and More cards. Yes, absolutely what it is, because it had some weight to it. So beautiful Memories and More cards. We know that these are perfect for layering onto your designer paper. Oh, I can't wait. We know that you can cut them apart. We know that you can die cut them. We know that you can do lots of fun things with them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 10 Memory and More cards. And then some printed ephemera. So we're going to have bows. So things, again, that coordinate and match. So we've got the heart, the bows. They match the embellishment. They match the stamped image. They match the die cut shape. And you've got a tag. So, oh my gosh, how fun is this, guys? Oh, this one definitely is going to inspire me to create and do the next video for you guys. I absolutely love this. So now let's go ahead and let's bring our 2 samples that I created for you today into the video. Again, showcasing Baker's Twine for you. One of the great things about Baker's Twine is it just makes a really nice embellishment. Here I let the die cut shapes and the twine kind of be the embellishment and the focal point. A little distressing on the designer paper. And then I just went ahead and stamped 2 greetings right on the front of the card. You made my day, you're the best. And then I'm ready to write a note about why they're the best and how they made my day on the inside of that card. So just letting your Baker's Twine really showcase itself. And then for this one, just kind of a little fun layout. I had a little scrap, so I cut it on the diagonal and used it as kind of an accent point behind. We've got some fall leaves. And then here I changed the color of the twine. And because that twine is variegated, if you look real close, you're going to see some shadowing of those colors, and then we just added some leaves, some acorns, and then again some of those gold dots bringing the pieces in. So let me give you 2 tips. One, kind of the ways that I like to recolor my ribbon, how easy it is to create the look of a tassel, and just a little tip for making sure that all your loose ends are secure. So like I said, I've been trying daily to give you tips and ideas with the previous day's products. All past videos are viewable. I do pre-record them so that they don't time out in the Facebook world. You can find them up under the media tab. You can use the search bar, or you can simply scroll, and they are indeed all numbered. So one of my absolute favorite ways to color ribbon and twine is simply by using the ink pad and a dauber, okay? Helps keep my fingers clean and gives me a chance to just kind of really work it. A lot of times I'll work with my ribbon right on the roll, but if you're not comfortable with that, of course, you can always just simply cut the length that you know you're going to need. I do recommend actually cutting it a little bit longer, because you're going to be holding one end and that end's not going to get some color to it. So if you're just going to lay it on your ink pad and just very slowly pull it through, and you're going to want to repeat that a few times, especially because, you know, this is round, and you're going to want to make sure you get all the sides. In addition, you're going to want to repeat it till it's as dark as you want it to be. So that's one way you have of coloring your ribbon, okay? And that's my personal favorite way. You're going to see a couple of marks here on the pad. It doesn't hurt it. It'll bounce back. It's just because I'm putting pressure on it. So then another way, oh, and then you're going to want to set it aside to dry if you're in a hurry and you want to use it faster. You can always use that amazing heat tool. Another way that you have of adding color, so let's just go ahead and grab this. I like to secure one end down with just a little bit of tape. And then I can take my Stampin' Blends or my Stampin' Right markers, but that brush tip, and I can just start to color, adding that color to it. Now remember, this ribbon is variegated, so you are going to get a bit of natural shading that happens as it fills in the white and then over the color that was there. So, and again, just going over it again and again till you have that color that it is that you want to work with. And let me just do a little bit more. And my hands are going to get inky with this one just because this, I didn't pre-do one, and this is the color that I wanted for my show and tell that I'm going to do with you guys. So let me see if I can get a little bit of ink off of this, okay? Just by doing this, I don't have as much ink on my fingers, so get a little bit of ink off of it. Okay, so I have a little label here, die cut label. I have a handheld punch. You just want a nice small hole that you're going to be working with. And I'm going to take my ribbon and just loop it a few different times, however many times you want to do so, depending on how much of a fringe that you want there. I'm going to twist the top real tight, and depending on how many loops you did, you may be able to just simply feed it through the hole. And if it's a thicker one, you may need to use a little bit of a tool to go ahead and force those loops through your hole. And I just find this a very quick way to make a tassel. Once you get it through, you're going to open those loops back up again and then fold the other ends through. Notice I haven't cut tails yet, okay? It's much easier to fold these folded loops than it is these tails. And you're going to grab those. Oops. Of course, it's always easier when you're in your craft room. So there, you can see how those loops are still looped. Okay, and now I have that little tassel. And now I'm going to be able to take my scissors, cut that, and nice and easily I have a little tassel hanging off of that. Okay, so just a fun little tip for you, another way to use your baker's twine and a simple way to create the look of a tassel without having to wind it, have to deal with that big knot, And depending on whether you want your loop over the top or your loop behind, you'll be good to go. So baker's twine, I find, is one of the easiest types of ribbons to make bows out of. One of my favorite things is always just to make double bows. I think that that just kind of gives a great look. When I'm making my double bows, I always try to grab, let's pull this off now. So I've got my tail, and this one here will cut, so I have my tail. One thing that I do like to do is grab one of the tails and pull it just a little bit so that the loops are different sizes, giving it just a little bit of character. And this knot is still small enough that you can cover it with a fun embellishment, or a glue dot holds it, as well as your different liquid glues hold it really, really nice. So then for my final tip, just take your scissors, put a little bit of a notch in here, and then you're able to take the ends of your twine and just kind of hook it right in there, and then you won't have it going crazy, and you'll be able to find that end a lot quicker just by using your scissors to make a little bit of notch. So that's today's tip. Tomorrow, of course, we'll focus on opening door number 10, and we'll take a look at some ideas and some samples with the product that we opened behind today's door. Thanks, guys.